Welcome folks to a land of dazzling economic success, catchy K-pop tunes and a thriving entertainment industry. But hold on to your bibimbap, because beneath the glitz and glamour lies a crisis so elusive that most people remain blissfully unaware. Brace yourself as we dive into the depth of South Korea's truth, a truth that is far from the picture-perfect world painted by KDramas. Are North and South Korea more alike than we care to admit? Is this a conspiracy, or is there more to South Korea's story?
Hey, can we discuss this after I've satisfied my Korean fried chicken cravings? And seriously, what on earth are you babbling about?
The truth is far from simple. While North Korea often takes center stage as the unfortunate sibling, South Korea is not without its own set of problems. Behind the scenes, there's crippling poverty, identity crises, and a whole lot of unhappy campers. Curious?
I don't think it'll be that simple.
Right on, my chatty old friend. We'll talk about South Korea's place on the globe, a bit about its history, and the economic and social problems. Stick around till the end and we'll discuss what the future might hold.
We can at least agree that South Korea is still better off, right? I mean, it's not ruled by a totalitarian regime like the North.
Haha, well, my friend, let's dig a little deeper. The Korean peninsula was split into two after World War II, resulting in the Korean War. Since then, South Korea has experienced phenomenal growth. They transformed from humble farmers into industrial powerhouses. Think Britain colonizing the entire world, but just on a smaller scale. This era of South Korean history is famously known as the Miracle of the Han River, where their economy soared at an astounding 9% annual growth rate.
Miraculous, you say? I don't see what's so miraculous about the US pouring money into the country just to make capitalism look good.
Oh, you're quite the opinionated one today, aren't you, Chrono? But hear me out. South Korea's growth was propelled by strategic government policies and a laser focus on key industries, like electronics and automobiles. From the 1960s to the 80s, it was a boom period. However, here's the catch. South Korea heavily relies on imports since not much grows on its own turf. So they transformed their entire economy, sacrificing it at the altar of the chaebols. Now, what are chaebols, you ask? They're massive, family-run conglomerates like Samsung and LG that practically dominate South Korea's economy. Subsequently, their economy became export-orientated due to state-led development and the hard work of South Korean laborers.
Oh, so they let a bunch of hyper-capitalist companies run the show. Yeah, I don't see how that could backfire.
Well, backfire it has all right. Turns out that this successful transformation of the Korean economy had a hidden crisis. The issues plaguing South Korea today can be traced back to the miracle on the Han River. The economy is dependent on them. These corporate giants get away with labor exploitation, corruption, nepotism, bribery, you name it. They've been criticized for ages, yet the law seems to conveniently turn a blind eye.
But surely they could enforce the law and avoid an economic collapse, right?
Ah, the sweet naivety. Unfortunately, Chrono, it's not that simple. You see, my friend, South Korea's economic realities are far from rosy. Picture this. South Korea boasts one of the highest costs of living in the world, especially in Seoul. It's a whopping 140% higher than New York City. And get this, it's more expensive than 67% of the countries out there. According to the Korea Real Estate Board, the average price of a home is around $503,000.
Sounds like it's cheaper to pack your bags and move across the border to North Korea for a night. Am I right?
Oh, you've got a dark sense of humor, Chrono. Many South Koreans turn to basement apartments which consist of little more than a bed, a window, and a waifu body pillow. But hold on to your wallet. By 2025, the average price of a one-bed apartment is projected to hit a staggering $1.5 million.
So people will be living on the streets, cuddling their body pillows? Lovely.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. The rich chaebol owners and the average citizens are drifting apart, creating an ever-widening chasm of inequality. The success of the South Korean miracle hasn't trickled down to everyone. Hardworking individuals toil away with 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, barely scraping by, while the wealthy bask in generational wealth. By 2025, the richest 1% of South Koreans are expected to own over 60% of the country's wealth.
Okay, you can stop now. It's starting to hit a little too close to home.
Well, prepare for something even worse. South Korea's destabilized social structure has caused it to bear one of the highest suicide rates globally. The reasons behind this crisis are multifaceted. Unemployment, social isolation, cutthroat competition, mental health issues, and lack of access to basic needs. These all contribute to the dark cloud looming over the nation. Let's not forget the social exclusion faced by women, people with disabilities, the elderly, and the poor.
Well, why don't the rich make their own country? Oh, wait, they already have.
I know you're being dramatic, Chrono, but you hit the nail on the head. In 2021, South Korea's suicide rate was a staggering 24.8 per 100,000 people, according to the World Health Organization. That's significantly higher than the global average and ranks as the highest among the developed countries. And here's a kicker. The lack of time and adequate income has made Koreans hold off on having kids, instead seeking solace in fantasy worlds and video games, desperate distractions from the modern-day hellscape. According to a 2022 report by the Korean National Statistical Office, the birth rate in South Korea stands at a paltry 0.81 births per woman. That's significantly lower than the replacement level of 2.1 births per woman, resulting in shortage of workers, increased healthcare and social welfare costs, and potentially a decline in productivity.
Oh no, not the productivity, not the economy.
Oh yes, my sarcastic mate. The government shares your concerns, so they've tried to fix the issue, but reversing this trend will take time. The increasing number of elderly citizens will likely strain the economy further. The median age in South Korea stands at a staggering 43.4 years, significantly higher than the global median age of 30.9 years.
What? Are people flocking there just to retire?
It certainly seems that way, doesn't it? South Korea finds itself in the midst of geopolitical challenges that further complicate matters. Let's talk about South Korea's place in the world. No, it's not an anime wonderland. It's nestled in the northeast of Asia on the Korean peninsula, just below North Korea.
Oh joy, having a neighbor with a big red button labeled nukes. What could go wrong?
Right you are, Chrono. The constant threat of nuclear annihilation weighs heavily on the minds of the South Koreans. Countless rounds of negotiations, diplomacy, and more negotiations have yielded diddly squat. But hold on tight, because North Korea isn't the only thorny issue South Korea grapples with.
Let me guess, the good old US of A has a hand in this mess too. They can't keep their hands off any cookie jar.
Bingo, you got it. But also China and Japan too. The US is a strong military backer of South Korea and defends its interest against the North. However, having a guest like the US over is bound to cause problems with the neighbors. China is not happy about it, since China and North Korea were best friends at one point. Now, as China tries to deepen ties with the South, the US stands in the middle. While none of these countries are outright hostile, they're far from bosom buddies. China, sensing South Korea's potential, seeks to deepen trade relations, but their support of North Korea throws a wrench in the works.
Well, can't pick both sides now, can you?
China tries to balance both sides by throwing money around. But alas, their support of North Korea in territorial disputes over the Yellow Sea and the THAAD missile system strains the relationship with South Korea. But can you guess who else adds to this strained dynamic?
It's the US, isn't it?
It's the USA. You have to stop doing that, Chrono. South Korea's dependence on US troops and funding plays a pivotal role in the geopolitical dance. The US benefits from having access to the Yellow Sea, pitting them against their heated rivals China and North Korea.
Am I the only one who feels like South Korea is just a convenient pawn in this chaotic game?
Oh, South Korea finds itself in a challenging position indeed.
With everything going on, you'd think people would turn to religion for solace and meaning, right?
Oh yeah, you'd think so, my friend. But brace yourself for yet another twist. According to a 2021 Gallup career poll, a staggering 60% of South Koreans identify with no religion. 17% identify as Protestant, 16% as Buddhist, 6% as Catholic, and 1% with other religions. The decline of local Buddhism and the rise of Christianity, along with secularization, have made finding meaning and purpose an uphill battle.
Well, at least they aren't killing each other over religion.
Ah, my naive friend, if only that were true. Hostilities have indeed arisen between Protestants and Buddhists since the 1980s and 1990s. We're talking arson, murder, and vandalism.
Why do I even bother to speak?
Sometimes I wonder that about you too, Chrono. But wait, there's more. Islamophobia has reared its ugly head too, with instances of attacks on mosques. People find themselves forced to choose sides or remain silent, plunging them into a bewildering abyss. Finding a sense of direction becomes increasingly difficult. The rising suicide rates are a testament to the deep disillusionment felt by many.
You wouldn't have that problem way up in North Korea. Around there, everyone worships the one true Kim Jong-un, or they get executed. Not a good situation, but simpler.
Secularization and religious confusion have caused many interfaith misunderstandings.
Well, forget my dream of strolling through the streets of Seoul like the hero in my favorite K-drama. Cancel that trip, I guess.
Welcome to the real world, Chrono. It's a place we all love to hate.
Wait a minute, you said something about having ideas to make things better. Do share.
Ah, my inquisitive friend, don't get your hopes up. While I can't promise to fix everything, I can certainly indulge you. Firstly, enhancing cultural education in schools nationwide could work wonders. Delving into Korea's rich history may help foster understanding and unity. And of course, providing financial support for artists and cultural institutions is a step in the right direction.
Any other brilliant schemes to mend the shattered equality?
Matter of fact, I do. How about focusing on progressive taxation and social safety nets? There has been progress, my friend. Recent political moves, spearheaded by President Moon Jae-in, have cracked down on the unholy alliance between the government and the chaebols. Additionally, strengthening social welfare programs to support vulnerable individuals, such as the elderly, low-income families, and people with disabilities, could make a world of difference.
You make it sound so simple, but I highly doubt the chaebols would just relinquish their power and vanish.
Nor should they. The economy seems to rely on these corporate behemoths. However, promoting small and medium-sized businesses and startups could diversify the economy and foster innovative development. There are countless stories of brave entrepreneurs resisting the chaebols, uplifting local industries, and igniting a glimmer of hope.
Okay, I'm getting it. There's an uphill battle ahead, and not enough is being done. But what about the elephant in the room? What about North Korea?
Ah, North Korea, the ever-present spectator. At this point, a full-blown war is not expected. However, with the geopolitical situation evolving and blocs forming, the chasm between East and West widening, South Korea finds itself standing on the precipice of uncertainty. As alliances shift and tensions escalate, the South may become a pawn in a much larger chaotic game. So my friends, buckle up and stay tuned. South Korea's silent but deadly crisis naturally reveals a multitude of challenges: economic, social, geopolitical, and existential. The path forward may not be easy, but in the land of K-pop and spicy kimchi, one can never underestimate the resilience and determination of the people.